Greetings gamers, Tim Kirk here again, and today I wanted to talk about this phenomena of fake Geek Girls. And yes, I just used air quotes, so get used to it. I was a child of the 80s. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about this is because it has come up in a forum for tabletop role players, and I have seen quite a few videos about it and comments about it and other issues with it. Now, let me first by saying I don't go to many conventions. In fact, I've only been to one, although I am working on going to more. I have issues with a great number of people because I have anxiety, and that makes it rather difficult to, do the whole convention thing with lots and lots of people. I have gone to an anime convention in Dallas called A-Kon, and I was delighted and amused by the variation and quality of costumes there. Now, I'm not a cosplayer. I have no interest in dressing up as somebody else's character. This is not to say I don't find those characters interesting necessarily, but generally speaking, if I'm going to dress up as a character, I'm going to dress up as my characters. And that's just the way things are. I read books, I play role-playing games other people write, I enjoy them a great deal, I enjoy other people's fictions a great deal, but at the same time I have a slightly stronger interest in doing my own thing these days. Not that I'm necessarily fast at it, and sometimes I need to take a break and read other people's works to enjoy them and just refresh my memory that I can do these things too. Because it is somewhat difficult to be a creative person sometimes, because there are so many creative things out there and there's so much weight of it that it seems like you'll never get past that point. However, that's not why I'm here today. I want to tell you what my issue with these allegedly fake Geek Girls is. Please wait for it. That's it. I don't have a problem with them for the simple reason that these people have an interest in something that I do too. They have expressed enough interest to usually make their own costume and dress up as their own person, versional character, yeah, whatever, type thing. My tongue is not going to work for that second, but they dress up in these costumes that they often spend a lot of time on, and then they go to conventions, and they're girls, that are largely male-dominated, largely dominated by fairly socially awkward people. Now, not all geeks and all gamers are, but there tends to be a significant number of them that just don't manage to connect the way most of the rest of humanity does. I have anxiety. I don't connect quite perfectly with other people. Now, in individual groups or small controlled areas, I do quite well. I've always been a social person before the anxiety, so I still am social after. It's just a little more limited because of that anxiety. Now, I control it. I do my best with it. But the primary thing with these Geek Girls that you have to consider is they are dressing up like a character in clothes that are not necessarily the most comfortable, are not necessarily clothes they normally wear or would normally choose because they like this character. Now, there are some of them that might choose a character that dresses fairly similar to they do all the time, but they're dressing up and they are exposing themselves, not necessarily showing skin, but they're exposing themselves to a great deal of criticism, just dressing the way they do, like a character they like. Then they're going out to a large group of other critical people who are going to be even more critical of them, and that's not fair. It's not. It boils down to the fact that these people are geeks too. They're geeks like me, they're geeks like my wife, they're geeks like my friends, they're geeks like all people who wish to choose to label themselves geeks. That label used to be applied to me when I was younger, and there was not a badge of honor in that day and age. It was a thing that said I stood out, I was different, I was bullied because of it. Now, I don't have a big sad sob story because I've always been a rather large guy, and bullying only goes so far when you don't put up with it. and take action into your own hands. And that is not necessarily a proud moment in my life, but I did. And it managed to prevent future bullying because they knew that I wouldn't put up with it. But this is the situation. You are basically ambassadors to geekdom when you go outside your home, when you go outside your hobby, when you go to these conventions. You should be on your utmost level of respect for other people and give them the benefit of the doubt all the time. Especially people who have shown an interest in a character that you may have an interest in. Even if it's not one that you specifically have an interest in, that you know other geeks have an interest in. You like that character, in your field of influence, other people like that character. Or, it's something that generally falls in line with the theme of your interests. And these young ladies are dressing up like these characters and exposing themselves to criticism and social pressure, and it's really ridiculous when you think about it, because they have already shown that they are geek enough to show up to a convention dressed in a usually not that comfortable costume and stand out. Not just blend in with the crowd, but stand out as showing, hey, look, I've done this thing because I like this look, because I like this character. And even if that's all they do, and they're doing it because they like it, that's all that matters. Maybe they don't read every comic book ever written, but maybe they like Jean Grey. That's okay, because by liking Jean Grey, they'll probably pick up a comic book or two and read about her. They may pick up a graphic novel. They may do a lot of hard and very detailed work to try and get a Phoenix or Jean Grey costume to look right for them, for their body type. And no, they may not fit Jean Grey's slim superheroic body type. That's okay too. I don't fit any particular character's body type. I'm a big guy. I'm fairly broad-shouldered and fairly long-legged, and I just don't have the proportions of a superheroic character, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. I like me, and those people probably like themselves too, because they have basically put themselves out on a limb to have stones thrown at them for their interests. And to me, that says a lot more about their geekdom than their knowledge of comic books or their knowledge of your favorite TV series or your favorite role-playing game or your favorite video game. And, that's how I feel about it. I don't have a problem with these people who you out there in general, who hopefully will actually sit through this. I'm not trying to criticize you too much. I'm trying to be very gentle with your feelings, which you are not doing to others, and point out to the fact that we can be better. We should be better. We should be able to look at these girls and say, welcome. We are glad you are here. We are happy that you have an interest in this thing. Have you read this comic that has this thing you might also like in it? No? Well, here. Here's an old or a freebie issue I picked up at the con. Take a look at it. Read it. Bring it back. Or keep it if you have an extra. Share geekdom with these people. Even if they're not interested in that particular geek thing that you're interested in, give them a chance. There's nothing wrong with that. I can understand that you feel that your label is being misappropriated, but it's not a label that we were proud of when we were younger. It wasn't a label anyone was proud of when they were younger. It's only in recent years that it has shifted from a negative thing to a fairly positive thing, that we have basically taken the label onto ourselves and are happy with it, partly because of the change in technological developments and the need of people who are fundamentally nerds and geeks, who fundamentally focus on these technological things, partly because we have had quite a few media and just individuals who stand out and say, hey, I'm a geek. This is what I do. This is what I like, and I don't care what you think of me. And that's what these girls are doing too. And that's something that should be respected. I sometimes have issue with one of the forums I go to, with people who go to the forum who have no interest in the actual main topic of the forum. And I thought about that really long and hard because of the context in fake Geek Girls and prejudice, and realized that I'm being prejudiced to these people, and probably step back and, reassess my valuation. These people are not less valuable. They never have been. They're a very integral and important part of that little social group, that forum that I go to. Now, I would prefer it if they were more interested in the things the forum is focused on. I would, root for them and help them out in any way I could to make sure that they enjoyed the subject of the forum more. I mean, the other parts of the forum, not necessarily the forum part they go to. But, and the same should go for all of you and fake Geek Girls. Help them enjoy the cons. Help them enjoy their interests. Be respectful. Be kind. It doesn't hurt anything to be kind. And no, don't expect them to sleep with you because, you are being kind or being respectful. Just be respectful. There's no need not to be. If somebody disrespects you, take the higher path. That's the only way to win. You want to win these kinds of competitions, you have to be better than the people who have, bullied you and labeled you and pushed you down. And complaining about fake Geek Girls is not the way to do it. It's just showing you're no better than the bullies and the people you have faced yourselves. And I know you have, most of you. Now, not all of you, but some. And a significant portion of you will, ignore this. And that's, for shame. But please think about it. Take it on yourself to do better and be better. Many of the characters, especially superhero characters, that you enjoy so much are respectful of women. Why can't you be? Respectful of anybody. I mean, Superman, for example, has very rarely been truly disrespectful to anybody. That goes for a lot of the characters that I enjoy too. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but Spider-Man chatters his mouth and is disrespectful to supervillains, but to normal, everyday people, he's the soul of a gentleman. And to me, that's what we should emulate if we have an interest in superheroes, if we have an interest in fictional characters that are paladins or knights or any sort of positive. We should be that. We shouldn't be the bad ones. We shouldn't be the malign individuals who make the world worse. So think about it. Think about it hard. And, in my opinion, do better. I know I will try and do better with my own prejudices and my own limitations. I always have. I used to have more, and the more I work with them, the better I get. And the better I can be as a human being. A human being who has worth and value far exceeding that of those that bully me. Because I don't have to fall to their standards. I don't have to judge other people. And, I'm going to wrap this up by pointing out that there are several very strong and very good religious moralities out there that point out that we should be better people to each other. I'm not going to name them because there are so many of them that it's not even funny. I have my own one that I follow, and you can choose yours if you are religious. If not, doesn't matter. Prove that a non-religious person can be just as respectful and kind, and that's a good thing. Alright, later gamers.